This is the history of money. Gold, a word that has echoed through the annals of history, symbolizing wealth, power, and an enduring legacy. A metal so deeply intertwined with human history, it has been a constant companion in our journey through time. Its allure has captivated civilizations for millennia, from the pharaohs of ancient Egypt to the emperors of Rome. From ancient empires to modern nation-states, gold's inherent value has cemented its place as the ultimate symbol of wealth and power. It has been used to adorn the crowns of kings and queens, to build magnificent structures, and to fund wars and exploration. This intrinsic worth, coupled with its durability and scarcity, propelled gold to the forefront of monetary systems, giving rise to the gold standard. The gold standard was a system where the value of a country's currency was directly linked to a specific amount of gold. This system provided a stable and predictable economic environment, which was crucial for the development of global trade. Before the gold standard, trade relied on bartering or cumbersome systems of commodity money. Bartering involved the direct exchange of goods and services, which was often inefficient and limited in scope. Commodity money, on the other hand, involved the use of items like grain, livestock, or shells as a medium of exchange, but these items were not always durable or easily divisible. Gold, with its inherent value recognized across borders, offered a solution, a universal measure of value. It was durable, divisible, and portable, making it an ideal medium of exchange. This universal recognition of gold's value allowed for the development of a more efficient and expansive system of trade. This facilitated international trade, fostering economic growth and interconnectedness on an unprecedented scale. The gold standard allowed countries to trade with each other with confidence, knowing that their currencies were backed by a tangible and universally accepted asset. This led to an era of unprecedented economic growth and development, as countries were able to specialize in the production of goods and services that they were most efficient at and trade with others for the rest. The gold standard promised stability, predictability, and a common language for global commerce. It provided a solid foundation for the development of international financial markets and institutions, which further facilitated global trade and investment. The stability provided by the gold standard also helped to prevent the kind of economic crises and hyperinflation that had plagued economies in the past. In essence, gold became the bedrock upon which the modern global economy was built, enabling a level of economic integration and cooperation that was previously unimaginable. The journey towards a formalized gold standard was gradual. It wasn't a sudden shift, but rather a series of incremental steps taken by various nations over several decades. Each step was influenced by the economic conditions and political decisions of the time. Early iterations emerged organically, with nations independently pegging their currencies to a specific weight of gold. This practice began as a way to ensure the value of their money and to facilitate trade with other countries. The idea was simple. By tying the value of currency to a tangible asset like gold, nations could create a more stable and reliable economic system. Great Britain, a burgeoning economic powerhouse in the 18th century, played a pivotal role in solidifying the gold standard's dominance. As the British Empire expanded, so did its influence on global trade and finance. The British pound, backed by gold, became a trusted and widely accepted currency, setting a precedent for other nations to follow. The 19th century witnessed the rise of the classical gold standard. This period was characterized by a more formal and widespread adoption of the gold standard by major economies. The classical gold standard provided a framework for international monetary stability, which was crucial during a time of rapid economic growth and industrialization. This period, marked by rapid industrialization and globalization, saw major economies like France, Germany, and the United States formally adopting the gold standard. The adoption of the gold standard by these nations facilitated smoother international trade and investment, as it reduced the risks associated with currency fluctuations. Currencies became freely convertible to gold at fixed rates, fostering stability and confidence in international transactions. This convertibility meant that anyone holding a currency could exchange it for a specific amount of gold, which provided a sense of security and predictability in economic dealings. This era became synonymous with economic expansion, but it was not without its limitations. While the gold standard helped to stabilize economies and promote growth, it also imposed certain constraints. For instance, the supply of gold was limited, which could restrict the ability of governments to respond to economic crises. Additionally, the reliance on gold meant that countries had to maintain large reserves, which could be costly and challenging. Despite these challenges, the gold standard remained a cornerstone of the global financial system for many years. It provided a common ground for international trade and investment, helping to create a more interconnected and prosperous world. However, as the global economy continued to evolve, the limitations of the gold standard became more apparent, leading to debates and discussions about its future viability. Eventually, the world began to transition away from the gold standard, seeking new ways to manage and stabilize economies. This transition marked the end of an era, but the legacy of the gold standard continues to influence economic policies and practices to this day. The journey from early adoptions to the classical gold standard is a testament to the ever-evolving nature of global finance and the continuous search for stability and growth. The gold standard's proponents lauded its role in facilitating unprecedented economic growth. The stability it provided fostered international trade and investment. Price levels remained relatively stable, instilling confidence in long-term planning and investment decisions. However, this system was not without its critics. Tying a nation's money supply to its gold reserves limited governments' ability to influence their economies. Discoveries of new gold deposits could trigger inflation, while gold shortages could stifle economic growth. The gold standard, while promoting stability, lacked the flexibility to effectively address economic shocks. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 marked a pivotal moment in global economic history. The war's unprecedented scale and the immense financial demands it placed on nations around the world dealt a significant blow to the gold standard. The conflict forced nations to abandon gold convertibility to finance their war efforts. Governments resorted to printing money, leading to rampant inflation. This inflation eroded the value of currencies and created economic instability. The very foundation of the gold standard was undermined. The war's end left the global economy in disarray, with many countries facing massive debts and economic challenges. Attempts to restore the gold standard in the 1920s proved fragile. Nations struggled to manage war debts, which had ballooned to unprecedented levels. The economic landscape was fraught with uncertainty, and the gold standard, once seen as a pillar of economic stability, was now viewed with skepticism. Rebuilding their economies was a monumental task for war-torn nations. The stage was set for a catastrophic economic crisis that would expose the inherent weaknesses of the gold standard. The Great Depression of the 1930s further highlighted these vulnerabilities as countries grappled with deflation, unemployment, and economic stagnation. The gold standard, which had once been a symbol of economic security, was now seen as a constraint that limited economic recovery. The crisis forced many countries to abandon the gold standard altogether, leading to a new era of economic policy and financial systems. The legacy of this period is a testament to the complex interplay between war economics and the enduring quest for financial stability. The interwar period witnessed a brief resurgence of the gold standard, albeit in a weakened form. However, this gold exchange standard proved unsustainable. The Great Depression, triggered by the 1929 stock market crash, exposed the system's vulnerabilities. As economies contracted and unemployment soared, nations faced intense pressure to devalue their currencies to boost exports. This triggered a wave of competitive devaluations, undermining international trade and further deepening the crisis. The gold standard, once a symbol of stability, became a casualty of the Great Depression.